Hello, thanks for joining me. So today was going to be number 3 from the Snowfall series. I wanted to develop this idea further, but as you all know, that in fluid art you're not always given what you want. You can start off with a very good idea in your head, full of confidence, and very quickly realise that sometimes you just have to make a painting work. And this is a really good example of exactly that. So there we have Snowfall number 1 and Snowfall number 2. We'll get going with the rest of it. So we're using a deep edge cotton canvas from Art. This is quite a loose canvas when I bought it, literally flapping in the wind, but I sprayed the back, I've taped it, I put the stretchers in, and now it is as tight as a drum. Can't remember how much it was actually, but it's a 16 by 20 inch. Now I like to make up my own colours recently, so because I want to be a bit experimental and I want to create depth in my paintings. And I have used here a golden cerulean blue deep hue, and I'm using leftover paint as well. And to this I've added some bone black. Whoops. You can see I eke every single last drop of paint out of my bottles. I've also added some naphthol red light from golden. Little bit of an orangey hue, and that neutralizes the blue if you know your color theory. So in that first one there is black, and the second one there is the same mix but less black, so more blue, and the third one there is the same mix but with white added. So I have the same hue but 3 different shades to create depth in my background. It's just the way I like to do things, and it's the way I think. I've also got silver there, and that has a little bit of black because you'll see that I run out of paint. But I just like to create depth in my paintings, and that's the way to do it. One of the ways to do it. So my first white colours, that is silver. That is Doe Crafts Sapphire Blue. It's a lovely colour. And what's this? That is Golden's Iridescent Pearl. Lovely. And this is my cloud mix, which is, there we go, B&Q House Paint, Satin Enamel, 50/50, Floatrol, 1 part, 2 parts Floatrol, 1 part paint. Now they do separate, but they're okay when they're mixed. So we'll see how we go. So I'm just laying the top part down with the darker colour. It looks black, but it's very, very dark blue. Then I go for my mid-tone in the middle, and I go for the lighter tone at the bottom. Now my aim was to create a kind of a dark sky with snow falling over it. I like to just use a hairdryer just to blend those colours in. You don't have to do it that way, it's just the way that I like to do it. Now I spent quite a little bit of time getting this right, so I fade a little, oh, I've got silver in there as well, yes, so I obviously ran out of paint, and I worked that in as well. So just spent a little bit of time doing this. I actually had somebody else come into the studio watching me do this, so that's another reason for doing the voiceover. Same happened last week too. So there we have the background. So I apply quite a lot of my cloud mix at the top because that's what I aim to swipe with. And there we go with the pearl, and there we go with the silver, and there we go with that beautiful sapphire blue. Now, everybody uses paper towels, so I decided to use a paper towel, damp paper towel, and draw it through. And you will see that absolutely zero happens. It isn't like my painting before where it all reacts, and I've yet to watch the other one back and watch these side by side to figure out why, really. It might be that I swipe with the cloud mix and I didn't previously, I don't know. So I go back in with some more pearl. And incidentally, I did leave this. I've cut this a lot out of this video for time, but I left this for a good 10-20 minutes before I went back in. Some more blue. Sticking with the paper towel again, because that's what everybody else does. And you can see that some blue begins to emerge. Oh, and I really didn't want that to happen, the black at the top. So, tilting sometimes has to be done. And there's nothing wrong with tilting. And again, I prop it up and I leave it for a little while and just see what happens. And this is after 10 minutes, and as you can see, that's quite a diabolical painting. So in I go again with some more cloud and some silver. But this time I go back to my trusted, cheap, thin, flimsy paper towels. Now that's better. Getting better. So I'm sticking with it. And I decide to tilt. Maybe not tilt too much. Back it goes. So at this point I decide, right, I'm going to break the blue now and try and get that dark colour show through from underneath. So I know now that I can work using different techniques. Who says that you have to use one technique in one painting? You're the artist, and it's up to you to make something work by whatever comes into your head, really. There's no rules. I always like watching on Sky Arts Portrait Artists and Landscape Artists of the Year, because you get such a variety of talent from professional to amateur painters. And it's quite refreshing when you see somebody grid up, and it's quite refreshing when you see somebody do perhaps something the same way as you would do them. And they produce wonderful paintings, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things your way. So I'm just dabbing the balloon in there to get some flower shapes come through. And at this point, I'm fairly happy. I'm talking away to my friend and I start to titivate, or noodle, as Kathleen Osmore would say, but I'm going to call it titivate. I have a client. I do a lot of art direction in my day job as a graphic designer. I work with photographers. So I set the scenes and dress homes, etc., so they look beautiful for pictures. And a client said to me, well, all you do is you come along and titivate. Well, I can assure you there's a lot more to titivating than meets the eye. You have to be aware of composition, of your colour, the lights and the darks, because you can overdo it. Oh, I'm going back in here with some, I think that's black actually, because there are patches of bare canvas and you don't want to leave bare canvas. And also I'm trying to create a little bit more contrast at the top. So I'm just dabbing in some black and I go back in with blue. Now I have to warn you in a minute, because I'm chatting away to my friend, and this happened the week previous as well, that the video just cuts out, and I was a bit disappointed really, because I said goodbye to her, off she went, and I carried on. So off my friend went, and this is the result of the painting at this stage, and I'm just not quite happy with it, because for me there wasn't enough contrast. So just, you can see here, I decided to add some graphical elements just to illustrate what I did, because the film cut out. But those arrows show that what I did was I swiped again down, and a lot more of the darker blue came out. Then I added those blobs at the top of more colours, more black, the bluey black rather, more of the cloud mix and more of the blue sapphire, just right along that row at the top. And then I went back in with the balloon and worked over the top of those, and look at what I got. I was really pleased. Obviously this is still the wet result, but there's a lot of interest going on. You can see the darker blue underneath fading out to the mid blue and the silver and the lighter blue, the silver at the top for those balloon rolls. So this is the dried result. The silver at the top, I love how that shimmers. I love the darkness underneath those flowers, or cornflowers, they've affectionately been come to be known as. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to embellish this just ever so slightly. I might just pull some of these blues out, because as it's dried, some of it's gone behind the satin enamel, the cloud mix rather, and I'm just going to probably put some stems in to come down the canvas just to create that 3D effect. So that'll be a little time lapse at the end of this video.